States and 13 European countries met in Berlin. Their aim, to divide the African continent between them. They divided what we know as Somalia into 3 provinces, each ruled by a different European country. British Somalia, Italian Somalia, and French Somalia. The mainly Somali region of Ogaden was taken by the Ethiopian Empire and the NFD by Kenya.
The incredible thing about Somalia is that if you go way back in its history, it's always been either fought over or had foreign powers intervening in some way.
Both British and Italian Somalia gained independence in 1960. French Somalia voted to remain under French rule, despite accusations of ballot rigging, but later voted firmly for independence in 1977 and became Djibouti. The former British and Italian territories immediately united, forming Greater Somalia on the 1st of January 1960. Somalis elected Adam Abdullah Othman as the first president of the united country. He ruled for 7 years and was succeeded after a free and peaceful election by Abdel Rashid Ali Sharmarka. This was when Somalia's peace and stability earned it the nickname the Switzerland of Africa. However, corruption was rife and frustration began to mount. Sharmarka ruled for 2 years, but he was assassinated by one of his own bodyguards on the 15th of October, 1969, and succeeded by Prime Minister Mukhtar Mohammed Hussein. He ruled for just 6 days before being overthrown in a military coup. It was led by General Siad Barre, who would be the dominant figure in Somalia for the next 2 decades. Somalia's experiment in democracy was over. The rifle, not the ballot box, would now govern the country. Barre dissolved parliament, suspended the constitution, banned political parties, arrested politicians, and limited press freedom.
We had only accepted the...
And then from that on, there was a downward trend in Somalia, everything, up to the end, up to the disintegration. And every time things were going down, the military regime was becoming more brutal and more dictator.
So people were arrested, properties were confiscated without compensation. Any ship that brings material to Berbera, the materials on that ship were confiscated by the Siad Barre regime with no compensation. So things were getting worse and worse.
Barre's government was supported by the 2 superpowers of the day, the United States and the Soviet Union. It built the country's infrastructure and radically improved literacy. But in 1977, Barre made a move to take the Ogaden region, which was majority Somali, from his neighbor, Ethiopia.
I think what the Ogaden War was about was actually staking a claim to a more realistic border which did not comply with the colonial border. The colonial border was the line across the map. The real border was what the Somalis tried to establish. And of course, you remember, it was a very strange war because Siad Barre pretended that it was not a war being fought by the Somali army, but was being fought by the Western Somali Liberation Front, which didn't really exist at all. I mean, we went out to try and find the Western Somali Liberation Front, and we discovered, of course, that their tanks, their armored cars, were all Somali military vehicles with just a bit of paint on them saying WSLF. So the whole thing was a fiction. Of course, what was a fact was that the Somalis wanted their territory, wanted what was naturally, organically Somalia. But Siad Barre did not want to be seen to be fighting for that himself.
Jon Snow, News at 10, Jigjiga.
However, the Somali army was forced to withdraw when the Soviet Union sided with Ethiopia in the conflict.
The army came back, demoralized, defeated, after they felt they were victorious. That was when the Somalis' nationalism became something of the past. Clans came up, warlords came up, other factions came up, religious groups came up.
Opposition to the military government increased. Encouraged by Ethiopia, tribes in the north rejected Barre's dictatorship. He turned his rockets and warplanes on them and attacked Hargeisa, the capital of former British Somalia, in May 1988, killing thousands of northern Somalis.